Hi, welcome to my channel. It is October the 14th, and I'm here to do a little story time. And I want to say this is that in reality, we're going to face some hardships, some disappointments, some setbacks, some betrayal, some hurt, some grief, separation, isolation, but it's for our good. What the enemy meant for our bad, God meant it for our good. And so with that being said, I want to talk about fairy tale, and it's about Cinderella. And we all know the story of Cinderella. And I want to know that even in the fairy tale world, they came up against hardship and opposition, betrayal and grief, right? And the story about Cinderella is this, that Cinderella, we do know that she lost her mom. And her mom's last word was to be encouraged, and to be kind. And her dad went off and married another woman. And she had two daughters. And when they came, they saw how beautiful Cinderella was. And immediately they was jealous because of her beauty. So they mistreated her, and her father went off to travel. And some stories, they say that he was killed by his wife. She had him killed. And some he died from natural causes. But even in that, Cinderella had to endure hardship and loss. She lost her mom and her father. Now she's there with her stepmother and her evil stepsister. And they put so much task on her and so much work. She was doing all the chores and everything. They mistreated her. Her real name in some stories called Ella. But they call her Cinder because she was down in the furnace and the cinder and the ash got on her. So to taunt her and to mellow her and to torment her, they teased her and called her Cinderella. But even in that, Cinderella kept doing her chores. And it was established and known that she had a fairy godmother. But the fairy godmother didn't show herself until the appointed time. And I'm here to tell y'all that at the appointed time, God have angels and him himself will manifest. But even though he's been there with you all the time, like in the story of Joseph was traded off. He was traded. His brother was their brothers, the 12 brothers. It was 12 of them, right? And Joseph also was one of the 12th sons. And his father favored him. And he made him a many coats of many colors. He made him a coat of many colors. And his brothers them was jealous of him because he got that coat with many colors. And they hated him even the more. And Joseph had the audacity to have a dream that not only that his mom and father and his brother, they was going to bow to him. So they became to hate him even the more so. I'm going to put these two stories together. But it was established when they put him in the pit, it was known that God was with him. And when they sold him into slavery, it was written, and God was with him. Now, Cinderella, the fairy godmother, was with her all the time, watching over her as she endured this hardship and the cruelty of her siblings and the stepmother. But the appointed time when Cinderella had to get to her destiny, because it was destined for her to become a princess. Even though she had to go through the pain and the grief of losing two parents, the mistreatment and the cruelty, she didn't complain. Even though she heard about the ball and she wanted to go to the ball, so she made her dress and she fixed herself up. And when the sisters saw her, they became jealous and they ripped and tore her clothes off. She began to cry because she knew within her, she had to get to that ball. So the fairy godmother appeared and told her, I've been with you all this time. Now flipping back to Joseph. Joseph was sold into slavery. And he was put in the house, and the woman lost saw how handsome she was, that she wanted him to sleep with her. But he knew about loyalty. He had a standard. He had integrity, so he wouldn't sleep with her. So when he was trying to get away from her, she ripped his coat. She ripped his robe. And she went back and made an evil report. So he was put into the dungeon. But it was established that God was with him. And then come the baker and the wine cupbearer down, and he interpreted their dreams. And he told that one was going to be beheaded. I'm trying to speed it up. But God was even with him in the midst. And then there was a dream that the Pharaoh kept having, and no one can interpret it. But he remembered Joseph down in there. So he tells the Pharaoh, but Joseph cleaned himself up because he was going before the king. And he couldn't go before the king any type of way. And because he can interpret a dream, he said 7 years would be 7 years of plenty and 7 years of famine. So he came up with this plan. And because of that dream, and because of that, because of what the cruelty that his brother, they sold him off into slavery. But it's going to get him in a place. It's going to make him be second in command. But see, what the enemy meant for bad for Joseph, see, it worked out for his good. Because not only did Joseph get in that place, he saved not only Egypt, but he's going to save his father and his brethren. And he's going to put them in Egypt with him. Sometimes what the enemy meant for bad, we're going through some hardships, some of us. We're going through some hard times. We're going through some betrayal. And some people have tried to smother your dreams out, and they tried to kill you before you get to your destiny. But it's because of the grace and the mercy of God that you are unstoppable. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. And because of that, Almighty God, it looked bad for Joseph sometimes, but it worked out for Joseph. And Joseph was able, and because of the transformation, his brothers and them didn't even recognize him. That's why I'm saying when the blessing of God come upon your life, it will overtake you. It will overshadow you, that you will have no residue of the pain, the hurt, and the betrayal, and the divorce, and the setup, and what the enemy meant for bad. When God gets you to that blessed place, you're not going to have the residue. You're not going to have the stains on you. And people are going to say, is that Felicia? Is that her? Because the transformation did such a spiritual transformation from the inside out. He turned your ashes into beauty. And same with Cinderella. When Cinderella got there, she was ordained in a nice dress. And it told her, now both stories give the number 12. She had to get back at 12. And the number 12 stands for establishment. As being to establish, finalize. It was going to be established, her place and her destiny, and she had to get there. But when she got there, she was ordained in all her rays and beauty, that she didn't look like the Cinderella that was down there in the basement, and she had to put the ashes in. She had to wash the dishes. She wasn't looking raggedy. It was a transformation. She was ordained with her beauty, and she stood out. And with that being said, that was just a fairy tale. And at the godmother told her one thing. The fairy godmother told her this: you had to be back at 12 or you'll change. But her losing that shoe, it was a setup. Sometimes you got to take a loss. She lost that shoe, but she gained so much more. And one shoe changed her destiny. One shoe changed her, and she was a princess. And she was married to a prince. And some stories he's Prince Charles, and some stories he Prince Charming. But God turned her pain into a gain. So with Joseph, I'm telling you that some of us are going through, and the enemy is hitting us, and he's tagging us. But God, it was what the devil meant for our bad. Hallelujah. God gonna turn it around, and he's gonna work it out. We're one step that dream, you keep on dreaming. You keep on persevering. You keep on being consistent. Don't you complain in the midst, because it was established that God was with Joseph. And the fairy godmother told Cinderella, I was with you all the time. God said he would never leave us nor forsake us through the hardship, through the grieving, to losing someone, in that divorce, losing that job, losing that house, your health being attacked. God is still with you, and it is a setup for a major blessing that God gonna get you someplace. But when he gets you there, you're gonna reach back and you're gonna bring people that calls you to be in that place. You're gonna reach back, but it's gonna be a final thing. They won't see you in that place no more. They won't see you in that likeness no more, because God gonna do